What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. It is me, it is I, Mutsuke, and this is Mutsuke TV. If you're new to my channel, I'm going to need you to make sure you subscribe to my channel and turn on your post notifications so you never miss a thing. And also make sure that you give this video a like. Be also sure that you follow me on my social media platforms. I am Mutsudene on Snapchat and Mutsuke_ on Instagram. So, as you can see from the title of the video, I'm going to be spilling on some tea today. I'm going to be talking about what I feel was my very worst heartbreak. So, without further ado, let's get right into the video. Okay, so let's get right into it. I don't even know where to start from. A whole lot was just happening, but we're gonna do the things. We're gonna explain, my side of the story, our side of the story. So, okay. Now, first of all, this should surprise most of you. I have only dated twice in my life. I know it's surprising. I know. Sometimes I can't believe in myself. In fact, most times I can't believe in myself. Because I feel like I'm a catch. But anyway, it's cool. We'll let the people decide. So, I've only dated like twice in my life. And so by the time I went to university, those 2 times had already passed actually. So when I was in uni during my second year, I believe, I met this person. Very beautiful in terms of those things. If you actually, if you've watched that video, 25 random facts about me, you would know my type, and stuff like that. So this person embodied, one of those characteristics, that melanin. So a lot of it actually. So yeah, I think during my second year, I met him. And sorry, I'm just gonna give you a quick run through just so you can have a little bit of our history so that everything else to follow will make sense, okay? Around 2017, I think. Yeah, I think it was sometime during my second year. Where did we meet? At school. I think we met at school. There was this big circle of East African men that used to sit around, together, in front of it was the biggest cafeteria, or like, not really cafeteria actually, it was like a takeaway, but it was this in-house takeaway place. So this place was called Chicken House. And this was like, I think one of my most favorite places to chill during uni. Most of my friends can attest to that. I loved the chicken, who doesn't like chicken? So anyway, there was this bunch of, East African men. They used to sit together very often actually. So almost every day, every day. And so, by then, the circle had noticed that, Mutsuke was a little bit queenie, a little bit flamboyant, a little bit, royalty, just not peasantry. Or at least that's how I think they saw it. But they noticed that, so, I remember a friend of mine, Shahar, was the first one to, just deal with me as a friend from that circle. So bit by bit, everyone just started, trying to analyze what, all this Mutake sauce was all about. You know what I'm saying? We can't say we blame them, guys. Can we? I mean...
Wool up, nigga. Wool up, wool up, wool up. Just wool up.
No. So anyway, during my second year, I met this beautiful person. When I say beautiful, I mean in terms of skin tone, I don't think I'd ever seen anybody so enriched with melanin and in a way that I found so beautiful. I don't think I've met anybody like that before. Well, I had, but from my life experience, that was by far the most rich and just gorgeousness. But anywho, so I met this person, and we're gonna call him Enrique. I think that suits me. Yeah, Mutsa and Enrique. Yes, we're gonna call him Enrique. I like that. So, I met Enrique, and in the next 2.5 years or so, we became an on and off hook buddy thing. But, Enrique was not bi. Enrique was not gay. Enrique considered himself straight. But I don't blame him. He was one of the many that still all fell down, To this down, you're saying, anywho.
How to affect a daily living.
So Enrique, identified as straight. But he was the one, he made a dirty joke at school about us smashing, and he said if he were to smash me that I would have to pay him $500. And then I just, my response to that was like, donation. What did I say? Yeah. No, I was like, I think you're the one who should be paying me. And then he's like, is that so? Is it that good? And I was like, well, ask the many that just couldn't, They're gonna stop coming big. They're not that many, just say. But basically, uni was just, it was very eye-opening. I realized my options and how much more I am of, value to myself, and then to others. So, yeah, we were hooking up, on and off for the next couple of years, and then in the last year, Enrique got into a lot of shady deals, or just shady whatever. So he had a couple of incarcerations, not even that far apart from each other. And so I got worried, especially by the time I found out, after everything had happened, and because, we were all in lockdown this past year, or, just whatever, no one was really seeing each other's movements or anything. And I was staying with a couple of friends, excuse me, during the majority of lockdown when I was back in Cyprus. So then, by the time I went back to my house, I decided to look for Enrique, and that's when I found out he had been incarcerated and whatnot. And I started freaking out, man. I remember my feet were sweating, no joke. And the people that were telling me were people who people who intimidated me to a certain degree, because whenever I would go chill and see Enrique, one of them would show up drunk and he would be asking me all these questions like, who are you and la, So I don't know what to say. I don't know. It was just... Anywho, so I wasn't comfortable being around that person because he always used to ask a lot of questions, and unfortunately he would always do it when he was drunk. So I wasn't really uncomfortable, getting this information from him. So my feet started sweating. I even asked if I could sit in their car, because by this time I felt like I was going to faint. by the time I'm finding out that he's incarcerated, I'm also finding out that he's actually been incarcerated 2 times. So it was a lot to take in. Anywho, I got news that Enrique had, come out of jail. And so I called. He didn't pick up the first night, but the phone did ring. And then the second night, he picked up.
And I was like, hey, I've been so worried about you. I want to see you. And he's like, oh, don't worry, I'm good. It's fine. And I was like, okay, cool. When can we meet? And he made it seem like I would see him within the next day or 2. That didn't happen. And so I called again. I'm like, hey, I'm worried about you. Are you okay? And then he's like, man, I told you I'm fine. I was like, okay, well, why haven't you been calling me? Then he's like, can we do this later? I'm out with my girlfriend.
Come again, I don't understand.
Do this later, I'm out with my girlfriend. Do this later, I'm out with my girlfriend.
The inner me was out there like, eh? I remember pulling the phone away from my face. I analyzed it. I looked at every corner, the top, the bottom. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, when you think you heard something. In fact, when you know you heard something, but you're just like, no, it was my head. And I was like, what? Who are you? What? The first thing I said was like, and you're telling me this because what? And he said, I don't know. Now, this really pissed me off, and I'm going to tell you why. I had told Enrique several times, and firmly the very last time we had to have that conversation. Don't talk to me about your bitches. Don't talk to me about getting new bitches. And don't talk to me about when you're with your bitches. I had already accepted the fact that this person wasn't just, attracted to me, but was attracted to women. And so I don't feel like that was really a hard pill to swallow, but it was definitely difficult when I had to sit next to him and he would be eyeing somebody while I was there, or he would ask me to help him, land one of these girls, and I was like, bruh. And and to me, it's like, you want me to help you find someone I should share you with. That's how I looked at it. I already knew, he did things or whatever, but I never wanted to be part of it. It's just disrespectful, man, because it makes me feel like I'm actually the idiot and the thought or whatever. So, I lost it. Internally, I didn't let that show because during lockdown, like I said, I was staying with a couple of friends, and some of those people, weren't necessarily, Enrique's biggest fans. They had, they just felt a lot about just his general appearance and then the character itself. So I chose not to make a scene of it at that time. And then, by that time he says to me, can we do this later? Yeah, I'm out with my girlfriend. So I was like, go ahead and have a nice life. Guys, I'm not gonna lie to you. I've never ever, like I wear my heart on my sleeve. But that person, he hurt me so bad. And I hadn't even realized how deep it was. I knew I loved him, but I didn't know to what extent. But what showed me that is this person is the first person ever that had me, cry myself to bed until I slept.
Me,
And
my grown self. Can you imagine?
I was shooketh, man. I knew that he did things, but when it's really in your face, hi, man. I was some things, no. Anywho, I went to bed. I'd never ever cried for anybody like that, ever. To the point of, you fall asleep while crying and you don't even know it. That was one time, only for that person. I've never ever done that again. But that also showed me how messy I was, because I saw all the red flags about this person over the years, and I just kept on going, it's okay. He can change, to the point where I used to wake up and go to his house so that this person would do productive things in their life. Or like wake up and call and be like, you need to get up and do this and that. And I felt like I was nothing. And all for somebody you just found in the streets. And when I say in the streets, I mean people from the same squad had already been there. So for the next 2 months, we didn't speak. I blocked him, I cut him off, because I was like, enough is enough. I tolerated a lot of things. I did, illegal things even, in the name of trying to please this person. Well, not exactly they weren't like crazy illegal, but like just illegal favors, and like just, I walked out of, I think a couple of classes to go help this person, get their stuff going, because there was just a whole lot of mess happening. And I don't know, I was just trying to help him better himself. But I wasn't missing my stuff to the extent that I wouldn't actually manage to, go through school. It would be like halfway through the class. And I think this happened, over a period of like 5 days. But still for me, that was a lot, because I wasn't a person who would miss classes, for anything. And it also goes to show, what kind of stupid decisions we can actually make in the name of love. But it's actually proven to be just infatuation, as we saw with what happened to me. But whatever, we didn't speak after that. And I just told him, go ahead, go have a nice life. I don't want to hear from you, I'm done with you, whatever. And so I didn't hear from him, which also pissed me off, because when I say I don't want to hear from you, what I really mean is you better be on my case. How can you do this to me? Do you know what I'm saying? These niggas also, I don't know. Can someone educate these people? Because it doesn't make sense to me. Anywho, a mutual friend of ours, ended up passing on, and we had to meet. And I didn't know what to expect, because I was in love with this person, but what I never said is I was also afraid of this person, because I had seen him, through really violent ordeals with buddies, and he turned into, a completely different person. I myself didn't actually ever experience, I didn't ever experience that, but I know, like, I have a cousin who had, and I remember when that happened. You know what? Nah, that's a whole nother story. But yeah, I had seen him, like beating his friends, while we were out. And part of me always wondered, what if this person loses their shit with me? And so we had the conversation, and I was like, would you ever hit me? And then his justification was like, if you made me angry, I'm not just going to stand there. Or if you hit, I think I also asked, would you like hit me if I hit you? And then he's like, well, I'm not going to just stand there, I'm going to defend myself. Which is fair, but not fair. But yeah, it was just messy. It was really messy. So I think I waited for him, when at the funeral. Well, not really, but like, by the time I was leaving, I was going down the stairs, I ran into him. I took a pause, in life. I looked at him and I didn't know what to feel. I felt so much just looking, marveling at the things that, my eyes saw beautiful, but they all turned against me at some point. And I felt so much anger and pain, and I had really buried all those things, or at least I thought I had. And so I just went in and hugged him, and we just stood there. And I said I was sorry because of what, had brought us together. And I decided to walk him up, just chill for like another 5 minutes. But walked in the bitch that I had heard was the girlfriend. We had heard rumors about who it was, but it just didn't make sense, because this person was with somebody else, very close to him, and I was like, nah, that doesn't make sense. People are telling lies. Bruh, she walked in through his house wearing his slops or something like that, but she was very comfortable, in the house, in my house. Bruh, I got so mad again. I was like, goodbye, I'm out. That's when I was like, no, enough is enough. Because you know what, I had asked him about it before. I just got really angry again because I thought of all the things I had gone through, just to help this person better his life. And it all didn't mean anything, because really and truly, because this person had boobs. That was really the difference here. That was the issue. And so I just decided to, move on like I had, and I just left. But because of that and checking on each other, I found myself, feeling like, oh, I miss him, and I'm like trying to make time, trying to forgive, trying to see if we can find a way to go about it. And I was like, who is she? I knew who it was, but I kept saying, who is she? By the time we were speaking, and he's like, who's who?
Oh no, he didn't.
Bruh. Who's who? What do you mean, who's who? That her that was with you when you walked in. That's what I was talking about. And it makes you angrier because now you're trying to play me like a fool because you know how I'm feeling, so you know what I'm talking about. And you'd be like, I don't know what you mean, she's just my friend, la-di-da. Then I was like, okay, cool. But then I went out with my housemates this one time, and then me and Nyari, we got tipsy. Well, we were all tipsy, but me and Yeri were on other levels. So I said to her, let's go start a fight. Mind you, we're leaving. We left this, bar around 2 a.m. and we were in Girne. So we, it was gonna take a minute. Excuse me. It was gonna take a minute for us to get to Lefkosha. So in the car, we started talking about, our exes. So I was just like, bruh, I want to go to this nigga and, just start a fight. And I was like, will you go with me? And she, she was like, yeah, sure, I'm down, la-di-da. But, and actually, okay, yeah, she was like, yeah, sure, let's go, stir up a fight. Like, yeah, it was always ready. Only when she was tipsy, she was ready. Like, I'll be your whole army girl kind of thing. So around 3 a.m. we got to his place. And so I was knocking on the door softly, not trying to wake up the neighbors and stuff. And it didn't work. Trust Yari to be like, Enrique, knocking and hitting on the Enrique, singing his name even. So they lived on the top so everyone down could hear it. And anyway, Enrique opened the door and she was like, I gotta pee. And then she's like, what does she say? She's just like, I gotta pee. So she comes back, she finds me sitting with him by the couch, and I'm shouting at him. And I was like, who is that bitch? Who is that bitch? And he's just like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, what is she to you? And then he's like, what do you think? What were you told? Oh, what's making you think all of this? So again, it's this thing where it feels like he's questioning my intelligence because you want to pretend like I don't know. But I'd heard about this floozy's name. I'd heard that name a couple of times, and we had run into each other at school. There was, lots of things. It was easy to figure out who people were talking about because of something, an appearance. And it's actually just a really hideous accessory that she carried that everyone labeled her by. So that's how I knew, and I could confirm who people were talking about. So he denied and denied again, and then I was just like, it's cool. So I started shouting. Yari comes out of the toilet, and she's just like, don't shout. niggas don't like to be shouted at. You want just get what you want and leave. You know, because if you shout, he's just going to be full of pride, and he's just not going to tell you the answers you want to hear. So, you know, I shouted at him to the point that he asked me to leave. And me and my drunk self, and I was like, nah, I'm not going anywhere. And he was like, I need to sleep, whatever, logic. I was like, oh, you mad you were watching TV just now, but now you really need to sleep. So he would fall asleep, and I'll grab his hand to make sure he wake up again. And then, you know, like I said, he got to the point where he was like, please, can you... At first, he asked if we could talk about it the next day. But I said no, because we've done that before, and he never has come through. He'll just disappear. And so, you know, that day, I felt like I had the courage to actually take him on, you know, if things went left. But like I said, I'm scared of that person when he's on that level. But anywho, you know, we had our disagreements, and that was the last time, because I felt hurt again. So I said to myself, never again am I going to see this nigga. And so I did not. He went on to do his things, and by that time, not long after that, I was going to be flying out of Cyprus back into Harare. And so I did, without you know, goodbye or anything. And then guess what? I think a month later, after I'd landed home and everything, he called me. And he's like, hey, how you doing? La-di-da. And then he's like, by the way, where are you? And then I was like, I'm in Zimbabwe. And then he was like, fuck you. Bro, I didn't even know what to think. Do you know, I didn't know if I was happy to hear that or if I was insulted, because I knew why. You know, he was swearing me because he felt hurt I just left him like that. But at the same time, I'm just like, you did me so dirty, you know, throughout, and I just made excuses for it. But now it matters because I'm no longer there. And I feel like he started seeing how people treated him very fakely and saw him for his money only. Some of them may still be loyal, some. But I felt like whether he wanted to admit it or not, he knew I was good for him, and I only had pure intentions. But it was just a little too late, you know? And so are the days of our lives. But yeah, I can still say I love that person to this day. I really don't know why, but I do. But you know, I'm just in a, you know, better space, you know, from my heart. So I don't wish him any bad, even though I went through horrible, you know, little unnecessary situations when I was there, but it's okay, such is life. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this story time. If you did, make sure you smash this like button, and until next time, ciao.